Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Torch Tales, Stories Behind the Hood. I'm your host, Frank Vargas, aka Traveling Frankie. And again, one more guest, one more episode, one more conversation, whatever you want to call it, it is what it is. Today, I'm so honored to have not only an industry friend, but someone that I actually do call a friend, Phil Hilderbrand. Phil, thank you so much for saying yes, even though it took a little bit for that yes to come back to me because it got lost in translation. But anyway, here we are in Tampa, Florida at, where are we?
Crumpton Welding Supply.
Great, which you know how this works. We'll touch on that and what they do, how long he's been here and all that. But before all of that, why is he in the welding industry, how he got in the welding industry, let's go back. Phil, where are you from?
I am originally from Dayton, Ohio.
Okay.
I was born in Dayton, Ohio, and spent most of my time growing up in a town called Jamestown, Ohio.
Really? So gotcha. Okay.
It's a smaller town, graduated in a small class of maybe 120 students.
That is small.
One stoplight town.
Really?
Yes.
I wouldn't know any of that. But so how old were you when you left Ohio?
When I left Ohio, it was about 9 years ago.
9. And did you went from Ohio to Florida?
Yes.
Was that your parents' decision, or what was that? What happened?
The big thing that brought me to Florida.
Don't say Mickey Mouse, because
Definitely not.
All right.
Definitely not Mickey Mouse. No, no offense to the Disney fans, but my father passed away.
Okay.
And he was 54, and it was about that time. And at the time, there was a lot of changes going on. I was unhappy with my current job.
Gotcha.
And needed a change. And talked to my wife at the time about it, and we decided to move down to Florida. And there's a job opportunity down here, and it just really seemed like a good fit for us.
Really?
Yeah.
So when you came down because of your wife at that time, she didn't have a job here either, or anything like that, or because you both were living in Ohio?
Yes, we were both in Ohio. She was with the Army National Guard, so she was able to transfer down here.
Gotcha.
It was a pretty smooth transition for her, and
Got it.
I came down here, I interviewed, and there was a position available for me that seemed like a good fit. It was
Cool.
really exciting.
Yeah, and again, we'll touch on that. So how were you as a kid in Ohio? How was that growing up in such a small town? With that one stoplight.
That was really good. I remember, like in elementary school, I was in Dayton, Ohio, which is a city industrial type town, and I don't remember too much from that, but I remember being upset about moving out into a rural area.
Really?
Because it was a drastic change,
It is.
Coming from the city and suddenly being ripped out of your school and moving to a rural
Friends,
area.
everything new.
But it turned out to be great.
Yeah.
Right. It was a good thing. It was a little bit of, I don't know if I want to say culture shock, but I was going from a big school to a school that, they had tractor day where kids drove their tractors into school and parked them in the parking lot.
Just like here in Florida. Yeah.
It was really something different, but I made a lot of lifelong friends there.
Really?
A lot of good came out of that, and I think that for me personally, it was
It
a
worked out.
good move.
That's awesome. That is amazing because that for where I come from, and I've been here in Florida 35 years or so. That's something that I would have never thought of, like tractor day. Like, well, where are you? Are you nuts? What's going on?
Yeah.
But that tells you how different and how the same everything is everywhere else. So, as a kid, what were you into? Were you mechanical? Were you into art, sports, fishing, just hunting? What?
Hunting primarily. My family was really big into that. It was something that brought our family members together at least once a year for deer season,
Gotcha.
Squirrel season, whatever. So a lot of my time was spent doing that with my father, my grandfather, my cousins. I did play some football and baseball in elementary school. My parents wanted me to do that, and that was something that they enjoyed probably more than I did.
Yeah.
So it didn't really last through high school.
Yeah.
But, later in high school, I would say cars. My friends and I built a race car. We did endurance racing, 24-hour races. We had like a 6-man team.
Really?
and you just ran the car 24 hours around the track. Went to some big name tracks. It was really good, and that and my really good friend Eli in Ohio were probably my earliest exposure to welding.
Because they had a shop, or they needed to work on some cars or whatever.
Yes, he always had a shop. He always, was working on things of that nature. Spent a lot of time with him.
So how old were you around that time?
That was probably in my, I want to say mid-20s.
Mid-20s.
Probably.
So that's the first time at any given time, prior to that you got exposed to at least looking at sparks.
Yes.
All right, some sort of welding. All right, so now you are at mid-20s. So you were around what age when you came down to South Florida?
I would say, gosh, we're looking at like 35, 36.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Now, because you've been with Crumpton Welding Supply for how long?
9 years now.
9 years. And how many stores does Crumpton has?
6. We have 6 locations.
6. In how much of an area?
It's a greater Tampa area. We are as far east as Auburndale, as far north as Brooksville, and as far south as Punta Gorda.
And this location here is the headquarters for it, which is where exactly?
Tampa, Florida.
Tampa, Florida. Yeah. All right, so 9 years. Now, let's go back. I know you have a son.
I do.
How old?
Landon is 9.
Yeah, and what is he into? I kind of know, but you guys don't, so.
Yes. Landon is, Landon's big into video games, for sure, but he also likes to go on adventures with me. At least that's what we call them, is our little adventures.
Of course.
We'll go out on hikes, we'll go on trips to see things, we'll go to the beach, things of that nature.
It's an amazing age because they still want to do things with you.
Yeah.
Trust me, it's going to get worse from there. It's like, whatever. Yeah.
His other main interest is Cub Scouts.
Okay.
We do Pinewood Derby cars once a year, and we make really fast cars, I have to say.
Because they just had a race, and you helped with the whole.
Yes.
What was it, the computer system?
Yes,
or something
I helped
like that?
with the computer system. I learned that this year, so hopefully next year I can take that over and the track set up. And, it was really good experience to do something with the kids that they enjoy so much.
Yeah.
But again, I have to say, we build fast cars.
All right.
Very competitive this year.
Really?
Yes.
That's awesome. That's good to hear, especially because you're spending that quality time that right now. He doesn't understand how important that is, and as when he gets older, he's gonna remember and realize like that was pretty cool. And I'm gonna touch on this very briefly on the personal side because I went through it, growing up, with my kids and kind of being a single dad. And I know that now you are a single dad, and your son is 9-year-old. How is that transition? And I'm not gonna stay there long, but how do you think he's handled that being 9 right now? Or he's just clueless?
I think for him, it is very difficult, and this is probably with any kid around this age that goes through this, is very difficult when you have to try to please 2 people, maybe.
Yeah.
And sometimes he may feel like a middleman, even though it's unintentional.
Yeah.
So it's a difficult situation.
Yeah, in the beginning, and the reason why I wanted to ask that, and I know that I had not told you before that I was going to go into it, so I'm sorry but you know me because we've had this conversation. In fact, when you and I met, we broke bread through personal stories and stuff that, were happening in our lives, and which was 4 years ago or something like that, something like that. So, we just started. We became friends. At least I think so.
Yes.
And I appreciate your friendship, very much. Thank you. So it's amazing because I went through it too, kind of, with 2 boys, and then I remarried. Now I have 2 girls. Go figure. But it is what it is. Now, being in the welding industry for 9 years, from when you started 9 years ago to where you are now, if there was one thing that you had no clue it was going to be this way, or the one thing that surprised you the most about this industry, what would that be?
I guess really just how interesting it is and how big it is, because the welding industry, you know that welding happens, you know that it's a thing, but you don't realize how many things that it touches.
Correct.
How many things just involve welding
Yeah.
and soldering, torch work. And
Yeah,
You learn something new every day. It's not simple. It's a very big field.
Yeah, it's
And
the gas side of things, the crowd, and everything else, and most people really, until they're in it, they really don't get. It's like, you're a welder, you sell welding supplies, but from medical to industrial, you name it, you are right. Now, what is your title here at Crumpton?
I am the purchasing manager.
Okay, which we all know that on a family-owned business, the card says something that has nothing to do with what the card says, because we all do whatever it takes. I've come here where Phil is rolling or loading or whatever. It's just what it takes, or at the counter, and that's what happens with a family-owned. How many family members are involved in Crumpton?
Wow. I guess I haven't really had to think about that.
Huh.
But
So it's a lot more than I thought, because if you were thinking about it, then I thought it was like
well,
2, 3, 4.
we have Charles, Jim, and Lee,
Okay.
who are the owners, and April is family, Robert's family, Chris's family, Bubba's family, myself, Amy's family. She works with us too.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few family members.
Really?
We're all in the Tampa location.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that. I thought it was just the 3 or 4 that I've constantly deal with or have met throughout the years.
Yeah.
Huh, that's interesting. How many years have Crumpton been in business?
Over 60 years.
Over 60? Wow. And Charlie is the founder from the get-go, or it was before that?
His father.
His father.
Yes, Charles Sr.
So Charlie's second generation, Bubba's third generation.
Correct.
That's awesome to see. I love that. As a purchaser, what does a day looks like when you come in? What's your schedule like to begin with?
I'm generally here, depending on the days that I have my son, but I'm usually here between 7 and 7:30 till about 4.
Okay, and how does that day look? As an overall,
Sometimes chaos.
of course.
Sometimes, though, I deal with all of our transfers out of this location, the things that we need to send out to them, because, we have to consolidate things to hit our prepaid freight
Of
with
course.
certain
It
suppliers.
makes sense, yeah.
And then we have a route truck that runs to the locations.
Okay.
So we disperse from here. So I do that first thing in the morning, and then that lets me know what I have to buy into this location, and I do
Gotcha.
that. And I also I manage the inventory here.
Okay.
All of the counting and adjustments and anything like that needs to be made.
Huh.
And, like you said earlier, it's a family business. You do what you do to get through the day. I've been in a truck. I've been helping at the counter.
Yep. Hey.
Obviously rolling cylinders.
Yeah.
It's whatever it takes to get through the day.
No, that's I see it in every independent distributor. It's almost like a carbon copy of what makes America great on the at that level. I think it's amazing. This is why I do what I do, and I love doing it. Now, as a purchaser, because I know that you guys are part of a buying group. You guys are also part of GATA. You guys are part of the AIWD, correct?
Yes, correct.
And you guys are part of GATA and all that. And I know that you started traveling, going to some of these events. And so what do you think about, let's start with the buying group. When you go and travel and go to these annuals, what do you think you are looking for when you go there? What's the purpose of going to that? I know that they have requirements,
Right.
that you have to go every other year or so, but on a personal level, what are you looking for?
One of the things that we really like from shows is show specials.
Yeah.
That's one of the things we're always on the lookout for.
Okay.
Sometimes it's finding an alternate supplier for a problem that we've been having,
Gotcha.
finding things for. We've definitely had that come out of going to shows. Really, the FaceTime with the people that you talk to on the phone and you interact with all the time is invaluable.
That is so true.
Making the connection with them and knowing that when you call on them for something,
Yeah.
because you have that connection, that's
You,
really
you
priceless.
can't really shake it anymore,
It's really
right?
priceless.
Yeah, it is. And
I know I've done it to you.
Yeah, it's like, damn, I know this guy. We've had so many drinks together. How am I going to say no? Great.
Yeah.
No, I totally get it. I think that's one of the things that I love the most. I mean, I love meeting new people and making relationships. And now, what about the other side of things? 'Cause that's on the buying group. And every one of these things is designed a little bit different to get something different out of it. So like Gata. So I think, is it Charlie or Boba that does more of the Gata thing?
Both of them.
Right?
Yes.
And then you do the buying group. Okay. And again, just like I said, it's because they are both designed for almost like a different crowd and a different purpose.
Yes.
So you reach different levels of the people that goes to these things. Do you like traveling, going to these things?
Oh, I love it.
All right.
I love it.
Where are you going next?
Atlantic City is the next trip.
So that's the AIWD annual, right?
Yeah.
All right, which we'll be there as well. So I'll see you all there. Now, when it comes to working, have you ever worked with customer service before you worked here? Now, when you are helping at the counter, that you got to help someone find what they're looking for. Did you ever work in customer service, that face-to-face, before working for a welding distributor?
Not for any long periods of time. In high school, I worked at a grocery store for a little while, so I had some there. While I was going to school, later I worked at Home Depot for a little while. But really, that's my only customer service experience.
Face-to-face, yeah. What do you think about, as a customer yourself, when you are just doing your personal life, you go and buy stuff, and when you are on this side of the counter helping someone in the welding industry, what do you think is that customer base like? What kind of customers come in, what are their expectations versus any one of us that are not buying welding stuff? When we're fixing our house, we just need to go get a hammer. And do you see a difference between these kind of customers here and the way we are customers out there?
I think that the customers that come in through our doors here expect us to have a lot of knowledge, and to be able to find things and have things available.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe in the other customer service areas I've worked in, that's not as much of a pressure item.
That is true. That is true. I guess, yeah, because even for what I do, for the company I work for, automatically they expect that I am the expert on.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I might have an answer. The only difference is that I think I know where to go get answers. I think that's where the difference lies versus somebody else that, here's a bag of peanuts. You have a problem, call the 1-800 number on the back, and call Planters. I don't know. So I know you said 6 stores, right?
Yes.
Now, how much north and south do you guys cover out of each store? Because that's the greater Tampa area.
Yeah.
So do you guys go as south as...
Maybe Naples.
Okay.
Maybe that's a little bit of a stretch.
Gotcha.
I don't know about how far north. Okay. Maybe 50
mile
miles
radius or something? Yeah. How many employees do you think you guys have overall between the 6 branches?
That's a tough question. Maybe in the 50s or 60s.
Okay. Did you guys went through the struggle of finding people a couple of years ago? Are you still short-handed? Are you still looking for people? Are people coming back now?
I think the staffing is getting better. I think that we definitely had issues getting truck drivers for a while.
Yeah.
People that have, a hazmat endorsement especially are a little bit hard to find. And it seems a lot of those drivers that you do find that have the CDL and the hazmat aren't familiar with rolling cylinders and moving that type of product.
It's a big difference, yeah.
It's a lot different than a bulk or a guy that's running like a long haul type deal.
Correct. Yeah, no, once they realize they got to get out and
there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of different things to learn.
You're not just a driver.
It's not one product you're moving down the road.
You're not just a driver. Do you guys have people that have been here many, many years? And
we do.
and versus maybe a couple that are just brand new in the last year or so?
Yeah, we have a pretty good mix.
Really?
I think the most of us have been here for a long time, but we do have some new faces.
How is working for a privately owned family versus what you've experienced in the past?
I came from a very corporate setting, and
Correct.
I can tell you there's nothing like it. It has its ups and its downs, but its ups are so good.
Really? That is pretty cool to hear because I so get it. Every time I come here, and I've been lucky enough to know the owner and the son and all that, and I see the dynamics and I see the language just like it should be in a family-owned 37, 38-year-old second generation, third generation. Exactly what you're thinking is exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, so, and he's laughing because he knows that. I know there's something coming up that probably by the time this episode comes out, this probably already has happened, which you're going on a weekend trip somewhere in the Caribbean.
I am.
Right?
Going to the Dominican Republic.
Yeah,
A good friend of mine.
Yeah, this guy's learning his Spanish, Duolingo, as we prepare for that weekend. And what's cool about this, just so you know, like I told him, I said, make sure it's a couple of words will get you far. A blue passport will get you far, and dollars. Let's face it, right? But no, I'm so honored that you are taking that time to just go and see my country where I come from for a weekend, and I think we're gonna have a lot of fun, and it'll be exciting, and maybe we'll do another episode while we're there, just or after, like, how was it if he comes back? So it's on video that we're going together to the R, just in case one of us doesn't come back. You guys know who to ask next. How is your son in school right now? What grade is he in as a 9-year-old? Third. So he's going to fourth this coming year, or
Yeah.
or he just got into third now?
He'll be going into fourth grade.
Got it.
Yeah.
And you have him like every other weekend or something like that?
We have a really complicated schedule because of my ex-wife's Army
Schedule.
Stuff. So
Yeah.
I have him, basically every Wednesday and Thursday, and then every other weekend. It's
Gotcha.
a 50-50 deal, but it's kind of split up.
However it works. Well, that's cool that at least it's there. However it needs to happen. That you guys just work it out for the sake of the child. When you leave here on a Friday afternoon, and you're done being the purchaser / everything else, what do you do to disconnect? Your son is not with you, because that doesn't give you time to actually disconnect out of anything, because you have to take care of a child. So when you're on your own, that you just want to relax and you are just, what do you do?
I usually run in peak pollen season, not so much, right? I have a treadmill I'm working with right now to try to keep out of that, but a lot of hiking.
Really?
I do a lot of
Where
hiking.
do you do hiking here in Tampa?
I usually
Like the garbage dumps? Like the...
further east,
Okay.
rural, I guess Lithia and that area, as far as Mayaca, Kissimmee Prairie Preserve. I like to go there. There's some places in Polk County that are really nice.
Cool.
And the time is changing again soon, so hopefully I'll have later evenings to do more of that. But I spend a lot of time in nature, walking around.
Yeah, and I see, because I know you're getting into pictures more and trying to do a little bit more of that, and I think we've had that conversation that is just so soothing, so therapeutic, and I did that a lot. And this is kind of what it has morphed into, from videos and pictures, and here I am doing this, whatever this is. Still don't know, have no clue, but I'm still doing it. What do you, on a Sunday night, right before you come in to work on a Monday morning, is your head already spinning like, oh my God, tomorrow morning I got to go through or do 1, 2, 3, all these things, or you just come in and you tackle it and turn on the switch once you're here?
Yes. Another part of that is that I don't really turn this place off. And I don't think most of us do. in the family because it is kind of our thing. You know, I own the purchasing thing. If they
Yeah.
need something, they call me. If I'm on vacation, they call me. If I need to order something
It's
urgently and
yeah,
I'm on vacation, they call me.
yeah,
It's part of it.
yeah.
You know, I think in the corporate world, you know, there wasn't as much of that. There was
Correct.
usually a backup
Yeah.
and a backup for that
Yeah.
backup. But yeah, so Sundays definitely, I'm already
Really?
getting the gears moving
Wow.
for the work week.
Now this is the Crumpton Welding Supply. 60 years, 6 locations, 9 years, and 7 family members involved. Maybe 50 employees, give or take total. Has there ever been a conversation of growing to more locations? Or maybe because of the lack of employees and people and good quality people, that kind of comes right back down to like, nah, let's just work with what we got? Or do you think Charlie and them have ever thought of, hey, let's open another here or there, but because of the usual problems, that hasn't really come to light?
I think that there's probably a desire to do that. There hasn't been a whole lot of communication on my level about that.
Gotcha.
So they may be looking at things like
Okay.
that. But yeah, I could see us continuing to grow, you know, as the years go on.
Cool. Do you ever see yourself outside of the welding industry now that you've been 9 years in and you are building these relationships, these friendships? And because I don't, but I always ask that question.
I really don't want to be outside of the welding industry.
Yeah.
I finally found my people, I believe, here,
Yeah.
you know, and made so many friends in the industry that it feels like a worthwhile career. Makes me happy.
I totally agree. Well, I got to tell you, Phil, that even though I remember that show, Fab Tech, 4 years ago, walking around, and I just reached out and said, hey, and since then, you know, I think, like I said before, we have built a nice relationship, a good friendly friendship outside of business. You know, for me, this is why it happened, but it'll continue beyond this. And so I'm very grateful to call you a friend. And I'm happy to see that you are where you are now, moving on, and just taking life by the horns and just doing your thing. It's just nice to see. Is there anything that you would like the 10, 9, 7, 6 viewers there to know more about you or Crumpton as a whole?
Put me on the spot. I
Of course.
can't think of anything else that's really big about myself. I know we touched on my dad for a little while,
Yeah.
the cancer thing, and that was
He was 54.
54.
My dad passed away when he was 45.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a weird stage in that someone that young,
Yeah.
right? I always said, if I can beat my dad, now I'm 46, then I'm good.
Yeah.
But now that I'm 46, I want to be here for a lot longer. So I kind of understand losing a father at such a young age. You know, it just sucks. Yeah.
yeah. I think one of my major takes from that is make sure you go to the doctor and get things looked at if you don't feel well, you know, and travel and enjoy life as much as possible.
There you go. There you go.
Just do it.
And this is why we're going to the DR. And I promise you, you guys will see pictures on his profile, on my profile. You guys already know I post a lot of stuff out there. And Phil, I want to thank you again. Thank you for taking the time. I know you're busy. I know you guys got a lot of things going on. And it humbles me that friends like this say yes to pretty much help my personal thing. Again, it's called Torch Tales, but it is, I don't know what this is. But I'm grateful that I keep running into people like you and see families like this. Every time I do a sales call into an independent that I see these kind of dynamics, it makes me chuckle in a good way, because it's like, man, most people don't get to know or see these things unless they're in it. So that humbles me and it makes me very proud of what I do. So brother, thank you very much. All right. Guys, I hope you guys learned something from Crumpton Supply, Phil here. And you know how this works. If they keep saying yes, who am I to say no? All right? But I'm definitely going to keep doing it, even if they say no. I'll just do it by myself. I'll just sit here and talk. I'm good at that anyway. Thank you guys. See you on the next one. With somebody else, somewhere else. Torch Tales out.